Hi guys. Today I'm going to go over how to convert between units using something called dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis just means that you're changing from one unit to another, or you're changing from one dimension to another. So we'll be using that to go between different units that we use in chemistry. Let's start with a non-chemistry example and say that I know something measures 24 inches. But I don't want to know it in inches, I want to know how many feet that is. So 24 inches is equal to how many feet? Now, this should be a really easy conversion. The first thing we need is a conversion factor. So the conversion factor is there are 12 inches in 1 foot. This is a common type of factor. Hopefully you all know that. In chemistry, we use one that's a little more complicated. But what we can do with the conversion factor is we can write this as a fraction. We can write it either as 12 inches, so I'm just going to abbreviate inches, over 1 foot, or we can write it as 1 foot over 12 inches. Depending on how we're converting is going to depend on which conversion factor we need. So we might need this one or we might need this one. When we solve one of these problems, we always start with a given amount. And the given amount is whatever is given to you in the problem. So for example, our non-chemistry example is saying we are given 24 inches and we want to know how many feet. So our given is going to be 24 inches. Okay, we start with that, and then we have to figure out our conversion factor. So we want to go from inches to feet. When we do this, we set this up as fractions. That's the easiest way to do it. So to turn 24 inches into a fraction, we put it over 1. Okay, and then we're going to multiply it by another fraction. Now, the key to conversions with dimensional analysis is whatever unit you have on top here has to be the unit in the bottom of your second fraction. So, if I have inches on top here, I need inches on the bottom. Well, when I look at the different conversion factors I have up here, which one of these conversion factors has inches on the bottom? This one or this one? Well, when you look at it, you can see that it is clearly this one. So what I would end up writing is I would put 1 foot over 12 inches. And this is a multiplication sign because I'm multiplying fractions by each other. Okay, and this would be my setup. When I have something on the top and on the bottom, as before, we cancel them out. So the inches are gone, right? They've gone away. And the unit that we're looking at that's left is feet. And that's what we want up here. So feet is what we would want in our answer. So once I look at the units, you look at this in two ways. You look at the numbers separately and the units separately. And once I have the units that I want, now I can ignore the other units. Okay, the units are done, and I just want to look at the numbers. So now I just multiply this as a fraction, right? So how do you multiply fractions? Well, we're going to multiply across the top. So I'm going to take 24 times 1, which gives me 24. And then I'm going to multiply across the bottom. 1 times 12, which is 12. So I have 24 over 12. Well, we don't want a fraction, so we're going to divide that out. So what do we get? We get 24 divided by 12, which would tell us that 2 feet. So how many feet are in 24 inches? There are 2 feet in 24 inches. Okay, let's try another non-chemistry example. You should be pretty familiar with time and the equivalent or the conversion factor between seconds and minutes. So this question is saying how many seconds are in 4.5 minutes, 4.5 minutes. So the same way that we started the previous one, you start with the given number and unit that's given to you in the problem. So if I look at this one, I'm given 4.5 minutes, and that's what I always start with. So I always start with my given. So I'm going to put 4.5, and I'm just going to abbreviate minutes here. Okay. Again, I'm going to put that over 1 just to make it into a fraction. It doesn't have a unit on the bottom, it's just the number 1, so we can see we have a top and a bottom, okay? Now, I need the conversion factor, or the equivalence, how are minutes and seconds equal? So, given what I know that in 1 minute, we have 60 seconds, okay? Now, I can write this again, I can write this as 1 minute over 60 seconds, or I can write it as 60 seconds over 1 minute, depending on how the units are going to need to be canceled. So if I look here, okay, I have minutes on the top, which means what do I need for units on the bottom of my next fraction of my conversion factor? I need minutes. So I have to have minutes here. Again, this is so they cancel out, because whatever you have on the top, you have to have on the bottom. Okay, so when I look at these over here, my two conversion factors, this one and this one, which one has minutes on the bottom? Well, obviously, it's this one. So how I would write this is I would put 60 seconds, just like I have the top over here, okay, right here. And on the bottom, I have 1 minute. So on the bottom here, I would put 1 minute. After that, I look at my units and I cancel out and I see, okay, my units that I want to end in are going to be seconds, because that's what the question's asking me. So let's see if my units cancel out. So what I have here is I have minutes on the top and minutes on the bottom, so they cancel out. And then I have seconds. Do I have seconds on the bottom so I can cancel those? No, so seconds is what I have left. And that's good, because that's what I want in my answer. So seconds is going to be my answer. Now I solve the number portion. So I did the units, now I'm going to do the numbers. So I do 4.5 times 60, 270, and then it's over 1. And we know that any number over 1 is going to be itself, so 270 seconds. So how many seconds are in 4.5 minutes? There are 270 seconds. Okay? All right, guys, it's your turn. So your practice is to do these 4 problems. What I did was I put the conversion factors over here. So if you didn't know how two units are related, that's all over here. Okay. And it's even got it written, okay, the equivalents, it's even got them written in conversion factor form. So you just have to pick which conversion factor you need depending on the units. So do these 4 problems. You can do them on a piece of paper, and then you're going to upload them to Google Classroom, and I will post the answers for you next week. Okay? I hope you're all doing well, and let me know if you have questions.